at food insecure households in this country, and then we looked at who was living in them, and then we got a prevalence estimate for the proportion of children in these provinces that were food insecure. Again, we had a high and a low. The high was Nunavut, which is truly a national crisis, where over half of children were living in food insecure households. The high point was Newfoundland. I think I'm right. Newfoundland sitting at 14.2%. So even Newfoundland wasn't doing great, right? That's a long way from zero. But that's the spectrum in Canada, okay? PEI is in second place. Thankfully, it's quite far below Nunavut, but it is the next highest in the country, with 26.8% of children in this province living in a household that experienced some level of food insecurity in 2011. So that is more than 1 in 4 children. And if I compare that to the national number, nationally we're looking at 1 in 6. So 1 in 4 in Prince Edward Island is high. And I think that might be what scored me this invitation. I'm not sure. That said, here I'm showing you the level of food insecurity in those homes where those children live. And I'm doing this for a very particular reason. So we've got the blue, just 74%, the others, that 26.8%, rounded off, that are living in food insecure situations. I'm showing you this because I want to impress upon you that not everybody is starving, right? Not everybody's in a severe situation. In fact, that's the minority, that 3%. Most of the households where we find these children are at a moderate level, so that means indications of compromises in quality, but probably not indications of compromises in quantity amongst children. And then we have this 11% that are in a marginally food insecure situation, so meaning that there's struggles to put food on the table. But so sometimes when we have talked about our results from this research, I've seen our work quoted as children going hungry. That isn't what we've documented here, right? There unquestionably are children in this population that are going hungry, no question there. But they are not the masses. That 1 in 4 children in PEI living in food insecure situations means 1 in 4 children in homes where parents are struggling to put food on the table on a consistent basis through that year. It doesn't mean that they're all starving, but it does mean we've got to pay attention to what's going on. Who are they? Well, when we look at the family structure, there are 2 things that just pop off the table. Children living with lone parent, female lone parent families are much more likely to be food insecure than children living in situations where there are 2 parents. 53% of female-led lone parent families in Prince Edward Island report food insecurity at some level. That is much higher than we see nationally. So 53%. Nationally, I think we're looking at 37 or something like that. What is that about? Well, this will come as no surprise to you when we do more analysis to look at those situations. This is about the poverty that those families live in, the particular poverty that is the privilege of the lone parent female-led family. Okay, here's my national only 30,000. I use the word children, but I want to impress upon you that I'm not talking about young children. That the variable we're looking at here is children under the age of 18. And when we look within the families with children who are food insecure in this province, it spans the age spectrum. So less than half of those households have children under the age of 6. Most of them have children over the age of 6. That's important if you think about interventions, because I noticed just kind of in cruising around on Prince Edward Island's websites that there are some interventions around early childhood, and that they're very important. I don't want to minimize that, but it's important when you think about food insecurity, not just to think about young children, but also to recognize that children in their teenage years are very much affected by this problem. We also see food insecurity amongst households with children living in them that are above 18, right, 18 years and older. And there I'm just showing you at the bottom, 25% of female lone parent families who had someone in the household who was a child, but 18 years of age or older were food insecure. So while the problem is greatest for people with children under 18, it's not like it evaporates when they hit 18. Just quickly, I want to flag for you the other groups who are food insecure. So I've talked about that blue part of that pie. Other groups that are very vulnerable are unattached individuals. So, if you think about my 24,400, most of that was adults, right? Most of that was people 18 years of age and older. And so this is not just a child's problem. The child's problem is very, very worrisome, and I hope there will be some action taken to remedy it. But we also have a significant problem with food insecurity that's affecting adults. And that's indicated here by this large reddish part of the pie of unattached individuals, and then the smaller categories for people with children over the age of 18. It will come as no surprise to you, I'm sure, that as income falls, the probability of being food insecure rises. And now this is national data.